Welcome to Didn't Get Frazzled presents 5 Netflix health documentaries worth streaming, a medical review for patients. After reviewing the documentaries, I will conclude with actionable interventions you can do right now to significantly improve your health and also lose weight if desired. So, the concept of documentaries as a motivational force to improve health came to me in the form of a morbidly obese man who presented to my office as a new patient. Often in this situation, he would tell me that he eats fine, he doesn't have time to exercise, and just can't seem to lose any weight, so forget it. But that's not what happened. Instead, he told me how he had recently drastically improved his diet and planned significant lifestyle changes. I was duly impressed, and before I could ask him how he came to this life-altering epiphany, he asked me, "Have you ever seen the documentary What the Health?" From then on, I've looked at the many health documentaries available for streaming on Netflix from a medical perspective, and here are 5 Netflix health documentaries worth streaming. Number 1, Forks Over Knives. This documentary from 2011 remains one of the most interesting health documentaries I've seen. The focus is on 2 doctors who separately, and then in combination, have come to the conclusion that a whole foods, plant-based diet is the best way to treat medical problems. While light on data from rigorous clinical trials, this documentary shows plenty of observational evidence that the Western diet is a major factor in the obesity epidemic and its corresponding explosion in diabetes, heart disease, and cancer rates. Most remarkable are the many examples of how increasing animal protein in the diet worsens disease, but changing to a plant-based diet reverses disease in the same individuals. This is compelling stuff and a radical and needed alternative to the usual Western diet of fast foods and processed meats. Forks Over Knives is an engaging documentary that forces you to question the very act of what you eat and how it affects your health. The 3D graphics showing endothelial damage from the Western diet and reversal of the disease from switching to a whole foods plant-based diet are impressive and can easily inspire you to dump half the stuff in your freezer. If I could prescribe this documentary, I would. It would certainly be cheaper and more effective than Lipitor. Number 2, Sugar Coated. This 2015 Canadian documentary examines sugar's role in the obesity epidemic, addressing the health and political issues. The documentary is uneven and less entertaining than others I've seen, but they do make a few good points worth discussing. When the body is overloaded with sugar, the liver will convert the excess sugar into fat. The World Health Organization defines a moderate level of sugar intake as 6 to 12 teaspoons per day. The average North American diet, 19.5 teaspoons per day, and for teenagers, 30 to 41 teaspoons per day. This excess of sugar fuels the obesity epidemic and increases the risk of fatty liver, diabetes mellitus, and heart disease. Which begs the question, how can someone possibly eat that much sugar every day? The answer, of course, is processed food. Processed foods use 56 different compounds that are all just different names for sugar. This includes chemical terms like fructose, sucrose, dextrose, and glucose, along with common terms like corn syrup, maple syrup, agave, sorbitol, and fruit juice. Foods advertised as no sugar added are often very high in sugar. Low-fat processed foods are promoted as a healthy alternative, but when the fat is removed, the taste is removed, so companies add vast quantities of sugar, often making them less healthy than the original fattier version. The take-home message here? There are no healthy processed foods. Sugar Coated is an uneven but still interesting documentary at its best when showing how the sugar industry uses money and influence to sow confusion in research and policy to the detriment of public health. Sugar's role in helping processed foods become a staple of the Western diet is clear. Exactly how great a role it plays in the obesity epidemic is not. There are other factors besides sugar, which brings us to number 3, What the Health. Despite its title, this documentary focuses on the political at least as much as the health issues. We follow Kip Anderson as he discusses government and other public health organizations, their ties to the meat, poultry, dairy, fast food, and pharmaceutical industries, and how money influences their recommendations, creating egregious conflicts of interest. Mostly, the documentary is depressing. I don't know if there's anyone in the world who finds the collusion between government and big business surprising, but Kip makes a good case for it here. The rest of the time, he promotes a vegan diet. While he relates convincing evidence to cut, or at least reduce, animal fat and follow a more plant-based diet, he is prone to exaggerations that undercut his argument. Equating eggs and processed meat to smoking cigarettes and breathing asbestos only undercuts his credibility. He is correct in pointing out how excess fat in the diet will worsen diabetes, but inexplicably argues that sugar and carbohydrates are not a problem in diabetes at all. He should have watched the last documentary. What the Health has interesting graphics and is often entertaining when it doesn't get bogged down with exaggerations and cherry-picked data. I think it is worth watching from more of a political than a health perspective. The highlight is Kip's interview with Dr. Robert Ratner, the now former Chief Medical Officer of the American Diabetes Association, who's squirming in the face of fairly benign questions about diet recommendations for diabetes, creates cringe-worthy drama. Number 4, Supersize Me. One of the first and most popular food documentaries is this 2004 film by Morgan Spurlock. He has a sequel of sorts coming out, so I thought this would be a good time to revisit the original. The documentary holds up very well, save one glaring exception, which I'll get to shortly. Morgan eats only McDonald's for 30 days and experiences high blood pressure, high cholesterol, abnormal liver enzymes, significant weight gain, and high uric acid levels, along with symptoms of nausea, fatigue, sexual dysfunction, and depression. His physicians and his then-vegan girlfriend, current ex-wife, beg Morgan to stop the experiment. He doesn't because, well, he's making a documentary. Morgan also makes a good political case throughout the film, showing how McDonald's attracts children into the cycle of unhealthy eating with the use of cartoons, Happy Meals and toys, playgrounds, birthday parties, and $1.4 billion worth of advertising in 2001 alone. He also shows how the original largest sizes of French fries and soft drinks are now the small or kid size, psychologically encouraging unhealthy portions of obscene girth. Medically speaking, this is a case study, not a controlled trial. Since the film's release, others have claimed to maintain or even lose weight on a fast food diet. This is both plausible and beside the point. Weight is just one of many markers of health, and fast food is just one of many causes of obesity. And the most cringeworthy moment? It's not Morgan vomiting out of his car window after wolfing down a McDonald's meal. It's Jared Fogle, former Subway spokesperson and current convicted pedophile, saying, "My big vice was food." Yeah, we all know his other one. Under his photo at the end is "continues to inspire millions." No, not so much anymore. Number 5, Fed Up. Narrated by Katie Couric, this 2014 documentary is light on medical details but presents a compelling political case for the causes and history of the obesity epidemic. They point to the 1977 McGovern report, which predicted that obesity would become the #1 cause of malnutrition due to foods high in saturated fat, cholesterol, and sugar. This could have been a turning point in the health of the nation, but the egg, sugar, dairy, and beef associations united to fight it. The results, of course, have been catastrophic. For example, what we now call type 2 diabetes mellitus used to be called adult-onset diabetes mellitus. Why the name change? In 1980, the number of type 2 diabetes mellitus cases in adolescents was 0. In 2010, the number of cases ballooned to 57,638. Thanks to the obesity epidemic, type 2 diabetes mellitus is no longer always adult onset. How have we allowed and even subsidized the food industry to poison our youth is spelled out in excruciating detail. The documentary concludes with political suggestions, 3 good and 1 rather silly. First, put warning labels on soft drinks, like we have on cigarettes. Second, ban fast food chains from public schools. Seriously, how is that even a thing? Third, add a % daily value on nutrition labels for sugar. Without this, many people simply have no idea how much sugar they're eating. Many processed foods have the total sugar content for the entire day. Transparency may well shock people into making healthy choices. No wonder the food industry fights this. And fourth, every time a celebrity sold a soft drink, they also had to pitch a vegetable. Yes, this is the silly suggestion, but the images they produce are the only humor in this whole gloomy documentary. While light on medical details, Fed Up makes a compelling political case for how we got into this mess and at least a few suggestions about how we can get out of it. Personally, I think waiting for our government to solve this is politically doubtful. Change will come one consumer at a time. Educate yourself and adjust how you eat. Even small modifications can make a significant improvement in your health and weight.
On that note, the following is my list of actionable dietary changes you can make right now to significantly improve your health. Number 1, cut out sodas and fruit drinks. Switch to water and you will save yourself unnecessary calories, chemicals, and sugar. Soda is complete garbage, and yes, diet sodas are also unhealthy. Fruit juice may have the word fruit in it, but it doesn't have the fiber that helps your liver slowly digest the sugar rather than convert it quickly into fat. Number 2, avoid fast foods. There are many inexpensive restaurants that serve real food quickly. There is no need to poison your body with this slop. Number 3, avoid processed foods. Yes, I know this is practically impossible, but try to cut down as much as you can. Real food tastes better once you get your body out of the habit of expecting high-fat sugar and salt every time you eat. It will feel weird at first, but your body will get used to it after a week or so. Number 4, avoid processed meats like sausage, bacon, and deli meats, and try to limit your total meat intake. If you want to go full vegetarian or vegan, go for it. You will get all the protein you need in plants. If you'd rather not give up meat entirely, then don't, but limit the meat to less than 1/3 of your total meal. Make up the difference with fruit, vegetables, and whole grains. Don't think of these 4 changes as a diet. It is a lifestyle change. If you're not happy with your health or your weight, you need to buy different foods, go to different restaurants, and order different meals. Nothing will change otherwise. You can do all 4 of these things at once, or pick one healthy adjustment at a time and make changes incrementally. If you're honest with yourself and stick with it, you will see and feel the difference. I hope you've enjoyed Didn't Get Frazzled Presents 5 Netflix health documentaries worth streaming, a medical review for patients. If you're interested in humorous medical fiction, please check out my book, Didn't Get Frazzled, the award-winning #1 Amazon best-selling novel called Authentic and Unflaggingly Funny by Couric Reviews. For additional information, click the link to my website, davyzhirsch.wordpress.com, in the description and click videos. Don't forget to like the video and click subscribe. As always, I wish you good luck and good health.